going to do it down lower because I know when I put the flowers in, I'm going to need room up here. Now, if you have a circle template, go for it.
You're drawing them side by side, Doris.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do them both at the same time. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a piece of tracing paper and just flip it over here. When you flip things, you can see errors in your drawing more easily. I can fix that later. Anyway, so I'm pressing down with this 4H pencil. And I'm just going to check and make sure, yes, it's transferring. Making a curved line like this works better for me doing a downstroke. So never hesitate to turn your paper. And I won't even bother darkening it just now. I'll just leave that for later. All right, now what I'm going to do is draw where my highlights are so I remember to keep them white. Oh, and I also have to make sure I have the water line. That's important. So I'm looking at my vase and it's a little above halfway. And it's going to relate to this ellipse. So it's a shallow ellipse. And now I'm going to turn it this way to get that downstroke again. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, highlights. The surface of the water is catching the overhead light, so most of that looks white. And then the water line is very white. So I'm seeing a little halftone here, and then it becomes white. All right, so this is going to be white, and there's going to be a rim of white here. All right, so I'm seeing white down here at the bottom. Now there's reflections from my 3 windows, and I think I'll put them in. All right, so now I'm going to mix a halftone. And so I'm using Cobalt, Q Rose, and a little yellow, a little new Gamboge, but you could use a different yellow. In other words, I mixed a triad to get a gray. Okay, I've got 2 number 10s. So one will just have water on it. Okay, I'm going to start down here. So this is, I'm just going to make all of this a halftone. All right, so this is good because this way I'm working kind of section by section, and then I don't have to be overwhelmed. So I'm dropping this halftone in, and it's looking nice and watery. I have a little section down here I want to keep white. See, now I could drop in a little pure pigment just to kind of jazz things up, maybe just a little touch of the new Gamboge. And then, okay, back to the neutral. And now I'm going to do the surface of the water. I'm wetting the parts that are going to be the halftone value. Now I'm going to drop that halftone in. I'm going to keep it hard edge. Okay, so now I'm going to do this upper part. I could do this part next. I feel like this is kind of a warm halftone. I'm just dropping a little while it's still wet. I can drop in a little more blue here. Now I'm seeing an interesting shadow underneath. So I'm going to paint with water, make an ellipse. And now I'll drop in some of this shadow color here. And then it fades out. Now I'm going to dry this and apply the darks. So first I'm going to erase some of the pencil lines that make the whites not show. I'll stick with these three colors, but maybe a touch of neutral tint. I'm going to use a smaller brush. This is a 6. I'm going to use a 6 because we just want a few spots of dark. And I'll have one of my number 10s handy. It's just wet if I need to soften it. This is what I started yesterday, and I'm so happy with it. I really like how loose everything is. You get a sense that these are very soft flowers. I'm going to do a contour drawing of the flowers and leaves. And when I paint the flowers, I intend to paint much faster than I did the vase. Just want to look for a few things in the arrangement that I don't want to forget. Like there's a stem here, and I want the light to catch that. So I'm not drawing every petal, just doing the outside contour. Okay, so that's an important flower. Okay, so there's a lot of flowers here, and they probably are going to get this. So I'm going to sketch the part of the vase that's showing here. And I'm going to, again, indicate where the whites will be and where the water level is, which is going to be a little higher because it has the stems in it. And I don't really see the other side, or maybe just a little over here. Okay, so now we have all these stems coming in. So the stems, they hit the water, and then they continue below the water level here. Just going to put a couple little hard edges in over here. All right, I'm going to start with the lighter blossoms. So they're very dilute pink, and I combine it with a little sap green to get this muted color and more water. That seems like a good combo. So I'm going to work wet on dry, and I'm squinting. I want to get a nice silhouette out here at the edges. Let things blur a little. Now I need a really dark mineral violet. The light's hitting it, so I'm pressing down so it isn't quite so dark just yet. Green here, that's a similar value. So with the glass now, I'm seeing through it. It's not going to be this half-tone gray color. It's going to be whatever color I'm seeing through the glass. And I'm working an adjacent way, just going from one thing to the next thing. Blooms aren't such a bad thing to have happen here.
So when you do the glass, because I wanted to work from life, so I have a different vase and flowers, you're going to abandon this gray altogether and just try to keep the idea of the...
Well, the gray could go like right in here. I could use the gray because there's no stems here, like right up here too. But wherever there's, something in the vase, then that's the color I'm going to see.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yes, it is.
told you I couldn't find my Charles Reed photos from my workshop with him, but I did find my transcribed notes, and which are probably more important in the long run anyway. But he talked about blurred edges and hard edges, and he said just a rule of thumb is in a painting, have 1/3 hard edges and 2/3 blurred edges. So not that you're going to analyze every painting in those terms, but I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I just dropped a little new Gamboge there. And this is supposed to be really dark here. So while it's wet, I'm going to drop in some really strong color. You know, I'm going to put a little, this sounds crazy, a little cerulean blue up here. I'm seeing this cerulean blue where the light is hitting the top of this. And then I'm going to put the dark, a dark under here. And so this is pure mineral violet. Might not even be dark enough, but I'll just leave that there. And actually, this should go flowing right into this dark petal next to it. So I'm not drawing exactly what I'm seeing because I didn't draw it that carefully. Okay, here comes that cerulean blue again. So I'm just leaving a few things out. There's that cerulean. I really do see it. So now that dark is making this white, almost white petal pop.